Hello everyone and welcome back to another 201 review session. I'm Love.
I'm Alexis.
And today we'll be going over kind of the skull. So we will first start off with orientation. So as you can see here, we'll have an anterior view. And you can tell that because of some major bones, right? You have the frontal bone at the top, you have the two maxillae. Remember they are two and not one, even though they look like one. Then you'll also have some like the nasal and the lacrimal bones with some features. So you can see the zygomatic bone into the arch to where we go a lateral view. Right? You can see the cheekbone or our zygomatic arch coming from the temporal and zygomatic. Make sure to know that what the processes are. You can see some of the styloid processes down here of the temporal bone. You can also see the mastoid on the side. Then when you go to a posterior view, we'll have the occipital bone as the main bone, and you can see part of the parietal bones. The features of the occipital bone that you can see here would be the nuchal lines, as well as the greater occipital protuberance in the middle of the superior nuchal line. Then we'll go to an inferior view. So similar to the lab manual, you can see this giant foramen. That's what the spinal cord will go through, so it's a magnum foramen. You'll also see a bunch of other foramens, such as rotundum, spinosum, ovale as well, unlike the sphenoid bone. You can also see the carotid and jugular. Then we'll go inside, and we'll see some other structures in the superior view. So towards the top, you can see part of the cribriform plate on the ethmoid bone, and you can also see the crista galli towards the top as well. That crista galli will have brain membranes attached to them, so it makes sense that it's the most superior part. Then you can also see the foramens again over here, and that will be pretty much it for the orientations. So keep an eye out for those landmarks, and that will help you understand which way you're looking at, and therefore which bone you're going to be looking at.
So when it comes to sutures, on the superior view of the skull, you could see your coronal suture right here. Coming down like the scope of the skull, you could see your sagittal suture. When we look at the lateral view of the skull, like in the lab manual, you could see your squamous right here with the temporal bone. And on the posterior side of the skull, you could see your lambdoid suture. And that's really it for the sutures.
Another thing with sutures is that when we go to a young individual, we'll have an extra suture towards the middle on the frontal bone, therefore it would be called the frontal suture. Another name for it would be the metopic suture, as well as another thing that younger children would have is the soft spots, so we call them fontanelles. You'll have an anterior fontanelle as well as a posterior fontanelle, and then those will usually indicate dehydration if they're sunken in, or maybe edema if they're over bloated.